And welcome to Greifenhorst. Oops. Hold on. Oh, and that guy too. He was still around. I couldn't hit him with my sword. Let's see if he photons hit him. And they do. Good. So, like I said, welcome to Greifenhorst. This is my Let's Build series in heavily modded medieval Minecraft. And I am coming to you live, not live, but whoa. He's got a hat. He had a hat. He had a leprechaun hat. Oh, that's awesome. So, as you may guess, I am recording this on St. Patrick's Day. So, by the time you see this, it will be well past St. Patrick's Day. So I hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day. If you observe or care about St. Patrick's Day. And if you didn't, I hope you just had a great day. Regardless. But anyway, this is my fantasy world. And let's just make sure we get like most of the dark corners in the neighborhood. Wow, this really goes... Oh, I've been down here before. I didn't know it though. But where is here? Oh, this is where... it's another one of those vampire bats. Oh, I knocked him loose. Hold on. I can't hit him. I hit him there. Okay. So a few episodes back, we went out here to just kind of light the place up to keep bad guys from waltzing in on me while I'm doing stuff. And there was a big black dragon here. Now, as alarming as that might sound, it was not a dragon from Ice and Fire. Otherwise, I'd probably still be trying to figure out how to get my body. But no, it was from Mythic Mounts, I believe. And I killed it before I realized that. So there you go. That was before we got Georg. In fact, that whole experience is probably why I have Georg, because otherwise I probably would have, when I encountered Georg, I probably would have fired first, asked questions later, and it's kind of hard to tame something when it's dead. So there you go. Anyway, so we've been working on the central staircase for a while. Man, that wind ambient. So there was an update to the ambient sounds mod a while back, and it's really got kind of a stormy wind noise sometimes. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So we've been working on the central core, getting it up closer to the surface, and we got it up to the point where we're at the line between regular stone and deep slate. So we made a lot of good progress, but and I have pockets full of stuff that need to be dealt with here. So let's deal with those. But what I'm thinking for today is I want to do a little more terraforming up top to prepare for building our castle. So and of course those preparations, that terraforming will give us temporary flat space. Oh, none of these have a designated spot, so we'll find homes for some of these. So while we are terraforming in preparation of building a castle, for now that gives us some empty space that we can go ahead and build fields for crops and tree growing and stuff. So that's good. We'll do that. Now, there was an episode a while back where I showed you my Excel spreadsheet where I have the plan and layout of the base. And if you remember, the underground portion of the base, which is pretty extensive, it reaches from the surface all the way to the bedrock, it's going to have places for growing animals and crops and trees, and even tanks for growing kelp. So yeah, but that's oh, looky, more stuff I gotta find homes for. So yeah, it's all good. It's all one step at a time, piece by piece. And of course, try to minimize dying and all that jazz. But I'm going to put this here and this here for now. I guess it really doesn't matter too much where I put it. I think that if I just let the system randomly put stuff wherever it wants, there is non-zero, probably a non-trivial chance that my head will explode. It's because I would not be able to handle it. I have a hard time sleeping at night, won't eat. I mean, I guess I can go that route because I could afford to lose a few pounds, but yeah, it's probably not the preferred way to go about it. I need a light here. Here we go. So it's 6 March. So real life has come and passed our time in the game, because we were on 5 March forever. So that confirms that it does go up eventually. I double checked, with Hourglass and Serene Seasons. In this case, the day-night cycle is exactly when I want it to be. So I had to double check Serene Seasons to make sure I got it right. And because it's all tick-based, not ticks that bite you and suck your blood, but ticks as in game ticks and wow. I expected like a hurricane or something up here, and everything looks calm. I might have to go back to an older version of the ambient sounds mod, because I mean, listen to it. You'd think I'm out on a frozen ice floe above the Arctic Circle someplace. Okay, it's calming down. That's good. I mean, I'm looking and there's just no signs of wind whatsoever. Anyway, there we go. Nice. If you're watching the channel now, you almost certainly didn't watch my original 2 series, Griffin Manor and Griffin Hall and then Griffin Manor. Griffin Manor, we were going to build a big manor house, right? But what I had built at the time was just a little cottage, but we had built out the estate, right? We had built out a nice brick and wrought iron walls around the estate, and we had mostly filled out the estate. Whoa! First of all, I hope that's smoke and not odor. Whoa! It must be odor. I'm getting a little infected here. Whoa! Well, this is awkward. Okay. It was an assault on both my sight and my ears. Okay. What was I talking about? Oh, so I had built out the estate, and we hadn't gotten to the point where I was moving the garden, the crops underground. There really wasn't much of a garden, but it looked pretty cool, right? Fields of flowers and other crops. It was nice. I might have explained this before. We live in a condo, and most of our balcony is taken up with a container garden. And so for like almost 20 years now, I was the keeper of the container garden. And then a couple of years ago, I couldn't do it anymore. which is ironic because it was a couple of years ago I was unemployed, and I was unemployed for a year. But I just, it was a lot of work, and I never got the benefit of everything from it because all three of my girls would pick stuff before I got to it. So, and like I said, it was a pain in the butt. But besides the fact that I was the only one doing work, I got plenty of input about what to do and how to do it, and I didn't like that either. So, anyway, they do it now. But where I was going with that is that I really do enjoy gardening and growing stuff. And while growing crops in a game like Minecraft is not the same, it's the same enough that it kind of triggers, some of those mental things that you get from gardening in real life, right? And made me happy. So it's like, oh, okay. So, but right here, I really haven't done much with our gardens too much. I mean, when I'm down there in that area that we're terraforming for the castle, I do start to kind of dig it, right? Get a sense of accomplishment and stuff, but it hasn't been the same. And that's true also for New Londinium and From the Rubble. I mean, it is what it is. There is a lot of scientific evidence that things you experience in a book, but even to a greater extent, like say in a movie or especially in a game, kick off the same. Hey, Gregor. Kick off the same emotional and biochemical reactions in your brain that the real thing does, right? So what I'm saying is, you have in real life, you have a puppy, and you play with the puppy, and all sorts of endorphins kick off in your head because you're happy. Well, if you have a game that has a puppy and you play with the puppy in the game, it kicks off endorphins too. And, for some people it's less, for some people it's the same. I mean, anything in between, but there you go. And that's that is interesting because I need to convert these and then convert them back. Ooh, that's way too many. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there we go. And that's interesting because, I mean, this is something I kind of knew for a long time, but I mean, I didn't study it. I mean, I didn't have electrodes and stuff attached to my head to, measure it in scientific means. But I felt that to be true for a long time. It could really impact your health, right? So there was this point. I need to clean this up. There was a point after I got out of the Air Force, and I had a good civilian job that lasted for about a month, and then I got laid off. In fact, everybody but the owner and one developer got laid off. So I was in a bad situation. I didn't have gas money. In fact, I didn't have a car for a good chunk of that time, and it was rough, right? But I did have my computer, and I believe that was the Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 years, and so I that's what I did for fun because that's all I could afford to do. Is I had the computer and I had the game already, so I was, play computer games. But the thing is, I often discovered that, I'm playing the game and I'm hearing the sounds and hearing the music and, people laughing and having fun at the amusement park. And after, a couple hours of playing the game, I was happy. I was happy as if I actually had been at an amusement park. right? Which was kind of surprising to me, right? But yeah, it really works. So there you go. There you go. The mind is an incredibly powerful thing, and along those lines, it can be a very it can be very interesting, right? Because you can people do this all the time. They call it the defense mechanisms or whatever, but your mind can get you to rationalize just about anything, depending on how traumatic or painful the truth is. But at the same token, too, your mind can be used to picture or experience almost anything. I mean, if you're a big book reader, you already know this, right? You read a book, and well, not all books are created equal. So you read a book from a good author that does really good descriptions or whatever, and it's like you're there, right? In your mind, you can smell the smells, you can hear the sounds, you could see the colors and everything. I mean, it's there. You were there. That is that's the power of the mind, right? So I don't know if I got off on that tangent. Excuse me, on the episodes where I'm doing a lot of kind of like, I don't know, like this, right? Like just kind of drudge work. I've gotten to the point where I can almost work. Let me make sure I get this. There we go. I can almost work on autopilot. And so my mind does wander, right? I mean, it's just like, woo, thinking about all sorts of weird stuff. So, and that's what's happening to me here. And invariably, I get myself into trouble because there's going to be a point where I'm going to run into, like, you know, like a whole pack of zombies or something. And my mind is not where it should be at that point. So, and then bad things happen. Most of the time I survive it. Not always, just most of the time. In other unrelated news, I'm back at work now, right? I don't know if I know I haven't said anything in this series, but I have said it. I got a big hole in the ground here. That goes all the way down, so we need to plug that. I've mentioned other series, but yes, I'm back at work now, so that's good. And you know what's interesting is I'll just tell you that I had been unemployed since July 1st, right? So that's let's see, 6 months, almost 9 months. Yeah, so all of July. So that's the last half of the year, 6 months, and we're halfway through March. So 8.5 months I was unemployed. And yeah, it's rough, right? It's a rough job market out there, but it feels good to be working again. I mean, it feels good to have money again, or to be earning money, but it's also feeling good to be someplace where I'm needed and appreciated. And just like, you know, fooling your brain as far as like computer games goes, having a sense of belonging or being needed, that's incredibly important to us as humans. I mean, it's so important that where you find like a lot of these people who are in abusive relationships, if the person abusing them is even slightly accepting of them, people will stay in an abusive relationship because they get some attention out of it, right? Which, again, goes back to the brain being able to convince itself of pretty much anything. Yeah, we won't get into current events because, again, the brain is pretty much capable of convincing us of anything. That would probably explain a lot of the weirdness in the world today. In the news, especially. Oh, there it is. Woo! And it's all gone. What else is going on? Yeah, we got plans. Now that I'm back at work, we made plans to go to Washington, D.C. for spring break, which for us is the middle of April. My wife and daughters are all dual citizens, and they need to update their Russian passports. And for us, the consulate we have to work out of is in Washington, D.C. to do that. So while we're going to go there and do that, but also do the tourist thing, we've already made arrangements through our representative in the House of Representatives, who, just for grins and giggles, she was the girls' pediatrician when the girls were first born. And she was a girls' pediatrician for like 2 years, and then she decided to run for the House of Representatives. So it'll be nice to see her again. But it was nice. We reached, you can do this too. It's not just because she was our girls' pediatrician, but you can reach out to your representative, and they can help you make arrangements to visit places like the Capitol building and the White House. So we actually have a tour date booked for the White House, and that is an interesting story unto itself, because you can't just like walk in off the street and go on a White House tour. So if you want to tour the White House, of course you have to set it all up ahead of time, and you got to essentially give them all your information, like here's our passport number and this, that, and the other, so that they can do a background check and say, yeah, my inventory must be full. It is. So you do a background check to make sure they'll let you in the gate. So now, in all honesty, any other time in my life, and possibly any other time in the future, I would be absolutely thrilled to go to the White House. I would have preferred to go to the White House during the course of a different administration, but it is what it is. So we'll check it out. Check out what's behind the curtains in the ballroom. But yeah, I'm more interested in checking out the museums and the memorials. I've been to Washington, D.C. before, but never left the airport. I mean, I've been to Washington, D.C. maybe a dozen times, and, stuck waiting for hours for another plane, but didn't leave the airport. So if you want to, if somebody was to track me on, where me and my phone have been, then yes, I've been to Washington, D.C. If you want to track me as to where I actually went out and saw people who lived there and sites and yeah, it's the same thing with Miami. I've been to Miami a few times, never left the airport, so it doesn't really count, does it? So, anyway, yeah, and I am worried because in the United States there is I know. There's all sorts of political stuff happening, so that's redundant, I guess. But there's a war between the left and the right about funding for the Department of Homeland Security, and the reason I'm worried about it is because, they got TSA agents who are still on the job, but these guys aren't getting paid. And there's something about people who are working who aren't getting paid. Besides the fact that technically it's slavery, but I mean, we get around that because they will be paid at some point in the future. So the story goes. But here's the thing. They're not happy. Right? They're not happy. And they're being overwhelmed because, there's fewer of them actually working. A bunch of them have quit. Many are calling in sick, and here we are. You know, if they don't fix this in a few weeks, we're going to be trying to go on our trip through the airport with a bunch of really upset TSA people. So I think I would love to give them like like a Visa card or something that they could use to buy food. But then I'm worried, like, is that bribery? Right? I mean, it's like, oh, you're gonna give me this card, huh? Well, let's just move you to the line for the strip search, right? Think you can bribe an official? It's like, it's not bribery. It's just I'm commiserating with you, dude. I just spent the past 3 years. I've spent 2 of those, or a year and a half almost, unemployed myself. I know what it's like. I mean, the difference was I didn't have to come into work still, but anyway. Man, that guy needs a glass of water. I think all zombies need a glass of water. I'd hand it to him, but then they try to, like, you know, kill you and take your brain. So, you know, maybe that's the reason they stay thirsty, right? It's like, yeah, think about it. If you try to kill everybody who tries to help you, then nobody's going to try to help you. It's the golden... Uh-oh. I hear the wind ramping up. Oh, it stopped. Okay. The golden rule, treat others like you want them to treat you. So if you want help, well, then help others. If you try to kill people all the time, I can assure you, they will eventually respond in kind. And sooner or later, it's you or them, right? That just kind of reminds me of Lord of the Flies, which then reminds me about why I drive my kids to school every day. We are far enough away from the school that we are on a bus route, and the girls are registered to take the bus. But they very, very rarely take the school bus because it's a little bit of it's like Lord of the Flies, the mobile show, right? There's some weird stuff going on in the school bus that I'm not real happy about. And, you know, I don't fault the driver because, you know, the role of the driver is to get the kids from point A to point B intact, right? And safe. And yes, sometimes the stuff that goes on in the back of the bus might conflict with that. But for the most part, that guy needs to keep his eye on the road, right? So... I think I just did this wrong. There we go. Oh, it works. Oh. We can do the same thing here. Or just do it this way. Anyway. Yeah. You know, so we had a kind of a warm snap a couple weeks ago, and now it's gotten cold again, but it's been slowly warming up. And when I went out yesterday, all this bird chatter is pretty much what I heard in real life too, and I missed that. I liked it. No, it might not feel the same way in a few weeks or a few months. I know there was a couple years there where there was the birds made a nest like right outside of our bedroom window, and boy howdy, you get a nest full of baby birds waking up hungry at 4 in the morning because the sun comes up in here in the summer at like 4:30. So you know it's you wake up annoyed, and that stays with you all freaking day. There is I think it's, what's the name of that movie? Funny Farm. That's the name of the movie. With Chevy Chase, right? He sets up a, he moves to a farm, so he was a sports writer, but he moves to a farm so he can write his great novel. And he sets up a writing office upstairs, and he starts to get the writer's block. And I remember, like, the same thing. When he first set up the office, there's some birds singing outside the window, and he appreciated that. And then later, as the movie goes on, and he gets further into his writer's block, he's sitting there with a steamy hot cup of tea or something, and the birds are singing, and he looks out and he sings, and then he takes that steamy up cup of tea and tosses it, hurls it at the birds. So, yeah, the novelty wore off, I guess. So. Okay. We're making big progress here. Yep. I really do love the excavate enchantment. It rocks. Especially, you can't. There are like mods or whatever that will. I was gonna say it got real quiet all of a sudden. Let me just say that in real life, when you're out and about and suddenly all nature gets real quiet like that, it's a sign, right? It means pucker up, Buttercup. Something bad's about to happen. Growing up in Southern California, I've experienced my share of earthquakes, even ones you can feel. And there are situations when something like that will happen, right? You're like, you're out in the woods and everybody's singing, and then it gets quiet all of a sudden. You're like, what in the world? And then a little earthquake hits, and then everybody starts chattering again. You're like, wow, okay. I remember one time our dogs started bouncing around, getting freaky, and it's like, what is your problem? And then the ground shakes, and it's like, okay, we're done. Thanks for the warning. My funniest earthquake story happened when I was, I don't know, I think I was like 8. And for whatever reason, I don't know why. Maybe I was 10, because I think my parents were divorced. They were so I must have been like 10. But my dad traveled a lot, so maybe I was 8. I don't know. Anyway, here's the story. For whatever reason, we had cable back in those days, right? And the cable was kind of an unusual thing to have. I mean, when I was 8 or 10, it wasn't quite horse and buggy time, but it was close. But for whatever reason, my mom let us watch The Exorcist on cable. Now, if you've never seen The Exorcist, it is like one of the scariest, freakiest movies out there, period, of all time. It's bad. It's certainly not a movie, like, I think nowadays, if you say, I let my kid watch The Exorcist, and the kid's only 8 years old, they might call it, like, Child Protective Services or something. It's that bad. So I watched it. And, of course, Linda Blair's character, Reagan, I don't remember her last name, but, she's possessed by the devil. She turns her head 360 degrees, all this other weird stuff. And, one of the things she does, too, is she can levitate and move things around, shake the bed. So we watched this, and, me being brave little boy, it didn't bother me. I'm going to go to bed now. Well, we always had night lights on at our house. And right outside my bedroom door, I slept with the door open. Right outside our bedroom door, my bedroom door, was the hallway, and right there by my room, there was a bookshelf in the hallway, and on the bookshelf was a nightlight. Now, the reason that's important is because from my bed, looking out my door into the hallway, it had that, it's a nightlight. So it's not like bright light, but it's not total darkness either. And what it looks like after watching The Exorcist, you watch a movie like that and they set up these jump scares, right? Where you look at the scene and you just know by the lighting and the lack of movement on the screen, or something is going to jump out and get you, or somebody's, something's going to happen. And so, I'm in my bed. It's quiet as all get out in the whole house. I try to get this to line up. And I'm in the bed, and I'm looking at the hallway with that eerie light, and it's starting to freak me out because it's starting to give me the feeling like, yes, something is about to happen. Something evil is coming. And then an earthquake happened. And here's the problem, right? I'm increasingly freaking myself out because of the sinister nature of this nightlight, which, for a reference, the whole point of a nightlight is to calm you down, right? So I'm becoming increasingly worked up because it looks like something is about to happen, and I'm waiting for it. And then the earthquake hits, like the bed's moving and stuff. And just a few hours before, I was watching a possessed little girl shake the bed and cry out some really nasty obscenities, and that's it. That was it. It freaked me out. I was yelling and screaming, and my mom comes out and wound up spending the rest of the night in bed with my mom. Oh. I had never been freaked out before like that. I don't think I've ever been freaked out like that since. I mean, now I watch The Exorcist. I don't really like watching horror movies, but there's a few, like that one, that are worth watching. Not over and over again. Every once in a while. But, Star Wars I can watch over and over again. Star Trek I can watch non-stop. But a horror classic like The Exorcist, I can watch it like maybe 3 or 4 times over the course of my entire life. That's more than enough. There is value in watching things over and over, but better yet, across years or decades, right? I don't know. I've mentioned this in some series. I don't know which one, but like when you become a parent, I should have done it this way, on the other side. Oh well. I'm doing it right now. But like when you become a parent, your whole world, your whole outlook changes, right? And like you would watch movies like I don't know if I gave it a specific example last time, but Hooked, right? Or was it just Hook? Either way. With Steven Spielberg's Peter Pan movie, right? And Captain Hook kidnaps the kids. Now, I've seen that. That's one of those movies I used to love to watch. And I've seen it like maybe half a dozen times before I became a parent. And those half dozen times I watch it, now I'm perfectly cool with it. I mean, yeah, he kidnapped the kids, but he doesn't really do anything bad with the kids. A little, psychological manipulation. But, it's not that bad. And yeah, I know they're gonna hook back up with their dad at the end because that's the type of movie it is. It's a family movie, right? So I'm cool with it. But after I become a parent, I didn't stop knowing these things. I knew all these things. I absolutely still knew all those things, and yet he kidnaps the kids, and I start getting all weepy. And it's like, what? I mean, it doesn't affect me as much now. When my girls were like, from the time they were born until they were 5, I was like ultra sensitive about kids' safety, not just mine, but all kids' safety and stuff, right? And, like I said, the movies would set me off. And nothing wrong with the movie at all, but it's like, oh my God, the kid, poor kid. And like I said, I already know how it ends. I know it's going to be fine. Nope, couldn't help it. That's just, it triggers me. Again, human mind is capable of doing some really weird mental gymnastics that can really mess you up, mess up your world, get you in trouble. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but let's put down some dirt. Excuse me. Anyway. But, that's kind of like what we return to art, all forms of art, to shape how we feel. Right? I mean, well, for some people, a painting is a thing. You can see it once and then you're done. But, I guess that's probably true of all art, right? All, different art comes in different forms. And people are affected by it in different ways. But I think a lot of people will return to a given piece of art, whether it's a painting or a book or a movie, whatever. Because the first time they experienced it, it made them feel a certain way, and they return to it in the hopes that it'll make them feel the same way. Right? But what's interesting is as you get older, like I alluded to in a while ago, right, is as you go older, you're changed. You're changed by your life. You have more experience. You have specific experiences that might give you a new perspective. And so then when you go to experience this art again, especially after like a long break, right, you might see it in a completely different way. Ace Ventura is a good example of that for me. When that movie came out, I enjoyed it a lot, and it had me laughing so hard, I literally had tears streaming down my face. And now here we are 30 years later, and I have a hard time sitting through all of it, right? I mean, it's still mildly funny, but it's just like, I don't know what I saw was so funny before. I don't know. Because you change, right? I do, I grew up at a time for whole. So hold on, let's get all these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, dig. And 1, 2, 3, 4, dig again. There we go. And a tree will go here. A tree grows in Brooklyn. Let's check this out. So, and then that should be, well, it's definitely the corner, but I think I need to make sure that it's where we start changing direction actually to build a tower. So 1, 2, 3, yeah. So I got to dig this out here and get those blocks back, because this is where it turns outward. This will all be a big thick tower. Life changes you, and for the most of us, and for the most part, it changes us for the better, right? I need to make an infinite water source, so I don't have to run all the way up the hill to water these crops. So let me return the water I just borrowed, because I can see fields are drying up already. That was fast. And then we can fill up these spaces. You know, I've gotten all the Ars Nouveau trees except the yellow one. The yellow one is actually from, gosh, I think Ars Elementa or Elementus or something like that. So it's an add-on, but it's yet another type of magical tree. I haven't found it yet though, so let's see what type of trees we do have and other crops. So we can try the ghost peppers. You know, hold on. I think we still have stuff up here in the upstairs garden. Yeah, flowers. I only need 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. 3 is what I need. So let's take the amaranth, poppies, and the dandelions. And we'll leave this stuff here for now. Ow! Watch where you step. Okay. Dark cherry tree it is. I thought I had more tree types already, but I have a dead tree and I had the umbar tree or the umber tree or whatever it is. The big dark purple tree. Anyway, I don't remember what I was chatting about last time. Oh, perspectives. Yeah, they change. You know what's interesting too? As you grow older, your perspectives change about a lot of stuff, right? Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this here, but when I was... My dad and I do know, I mentioned that we didn't have the greatest relationship. And I don't know if I mentioned that it was an abusive one. Right. Oh, is that a head? It's a creeper head? Oh, it's a creeper hat. Okay. Oh. Okay. The leprechaun, the leper creeper is what it is. He's dead now. Anyway, my dad, he broke my arm. Right, he didn't mean to, but he was in a rage, and he broke my arm. And the thing is, there was absolutely no excuse for breaking my arm. Right, there absolutely isn't. So. But I better understand my dad. Not in any way. It's not like I wanted to break my kid's arm, right? It's really about I've lived enough life, and I've met enough different people, and I've been in enough different types of situations that. I understand what can set people off like that. I can understand, you know, mental health problems or substance abuse, you know. I've lived enough life to understand better how these things happen and understand how I was caught in the middle of it. And while I do not think it... I don't think it exempts my dad from all responsibility. I do think that there are a number of contributing factors that, that kind of set him up to be and act in this way, right? So what he did was wrong, absolutely wrong. I will be the first one to tell you, and nobody knows better than me. But I also don't hold him as responsible as I used to, right? That's the complicated thing about life. We like to watch our movies and frame our arguments in terms of extremes. It's either good or bad, good or evil, expensive or cheap, And the truth is, almost every single aspect of our lives, things are actually evaluated on a spectrum. Nothing is truly good. Nothing is truly bad. Most stuff falls somewhere in between. Now, there's plenty of stuff that's sitting at one end of the spectrum, and it can be really hard to see the good side. Oh, that tree grew fast. Oh, look at that wood. I love the color out of that wood. I wonder if I can make more saplings of these. I love that wood color. Anyway. Yeah, I don't want to drag you down. It's life on this planet is weird. Okay. So we got a cherry tree apparently already. I didn't even have all the flower seeds in the ground and the cherry tree grew up, so that's something. Well, I'm here. The corn's here. Let's take care of this real fast. We'll put the shovel in my offhand so that I can heal it while I harvest all this stuff. That's a lot of corn. This might get us a full field of corn when we're done. Well, I was going to make a joke about the corn, but couldn't think of a corny joke. Oh, gosh. Well, I just cracked myself up. Corn seedlings do not look like this, by the way, but they do here, I guess. Okay, so we did fill up the whole field. Nice. Let's get the oats, because they'll grow fast, and we don't have a full field yet, so. If we harvest with the knife, we'll get straw as well. I need to put some of this stuff in the backpack. Huh. It still didn't completely repair the shovel. Got close though. Now we can grab this stuff. Plant the seeds. That's not a seed. Those are seeds. Okay. Now I see what I'm doing wrong. It's been a long day. You know, like I said, I'm at work now. So it used to be that while I was unemployed, I would get a chance to do videos in the middle of the day. Now I'm doing videos late at night. And at this point, I'm barely conscious. So, yep. Though the randomness is interesting for sheer entertainment value. You have no idea what I'm going to do, which shouldn't be a surprise because I'm not entirely sure. I know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know how you know, unless you have some type of advanced psychology degree. And I really don't want to hear what my faults are. I mean, I got a good idea. I just don't need the reinforcement. So we got more. That's not what I want. We got more amaranth seeds. So let us plant and roll here. I can't believe how fast that corn grows. It's not even on a rich farmland, right? It's just regular dirt, and it's still growing that fast, which, trust me, corn does grow fast. But, you know, it's 6 March. Corn doesn't grow that fast in March. If you can get it to grow at all, right? I went too far down. I was not paying. I was talking about corn, and I missed my stop. See, a good driver knows where his people get on and off. They could have done something, but I'll have to check that out later. So, just dropping stuff into storage here. It's not quite as cool as it is in New Simple as New Londinium, but I think it's pretty cool. I didn't realize I had so much stuff. I mean, part of the reason I have so much stuff is because, you know, I've upgraded my backpack. And so, you know, a normal Minecraft stack is 64 for most items, but I can have stacks of up to 512. That's a lot of stuff, right? That's 8 stacks of 64 is what that is. Just taking up one single inventory slot in my backpack. And my backpack has a mess of inventory slots. Sounds like bubbles popping, right? And this is stuff that bled over because I didn't have a place for it in the first place. So now I know I gotta find a place for it. So here's the seed section. Okay, now we gotta find flowers. Could have swore I set up flowers and other natural items someplace, but I'm rapidly coming to the conclusion that I didn't. So there's trees and stuff. Hold it. There's chicken here? Oh, and oh, this is stuff that also bled over because I didn't have a proper place for it. So here, we'll just put the natural stuff here. But the chicken is definitely meat. And I have definitely a place for it. And cherries are fruit. So let's go move these over here with my other berries. It's a very good place for them. And I think that's it. Gotta figure out something to do with all these experience levels. I don't hear, the wind isn't like, it doesn't sound like I'm about to go into some Arctic storm or hurricane or sandstorm or something, so that was very weird and very loud too. And apparently I misspoke. Spoke too soon. Definitely sounds like I'm gonna stick my head up into like a situation like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, right? Tornado is imminent. Okay. Let's check this out. So we've gained a lot of mineral resources this time around, which is surprising considering it was almost all just regular landscaping I was doing. What else? Just need 2. Actually, I need 18, not 19. I can add and multiply. I swear. I swear to God I can. Make it divisible by 8. Same thing here. Oh boy. I wonder if the compacting drawers works with Ars Nouveau. I mean, I'm sure it does to some extent. I just don't know how far it goes. The compacting drawers are really, really convenient, but they're a pain in the butt to make because you got to make pistons and sticky pistons, and you know, you get halfway through building one and you're like, ah, forget this. Okay, it's not thunderstorm. So, this is where we're at. and there we go. So today was a productive day. We got some more territory terraformed up here. It's looking good. This is actually looking very good. I mean, it'd look a lot better if it was a sunny day and not raining or snowing on me. But still, anyway, it was a fun run. I got a load off my chest. Hopefully, I didn't bore you to tears, but also, hopefully, you'll come back and sit with me next time. So, in the meanwhile, I hope this finds you and yours in good spirits, good health, and perhaps just a touch of good fortune. Cheers.